Okay, so I've decided to do these videos or vlogs, whatever you call them, to kind of talk about my life and my life experiences. And in order for them not to be too long-winded, I've decided to split them up into separates. The first one, which is this one, I'd like to talk about how I managed to get to 274 kilograms, which I obviously am no longer. And that's over 600 pounds in America speak. How did I get to 274 kilograms? And the reality is that there's no special story. There's no there's no amazing story of I was diagnosed with this illness, or I was fondled as a child, and it was an emotional thing. There's no amazing story like that, but there is most certainly an emotional story to this, where about I think in my personal experience, I'd call it an addiction, and like a food addiction. And I've heard people talk about food addiction not being a real thing, and saying, well, you can get a handle on it, but unfortunately, I think it is most certainly a real thing. And I think that, like any other addiction a person can have, be it alcohol, be it a drug dependency, it comes down to the attachment that you put on that vice of yours, which in my instance was food. But if I think about it now, the emotional part comes in where a major event, or just not even a major, something happens in your life, and you either eat to kind of numb the pain, so to speak. And when I say numb the pain, I mean like going through a breakup and then just having to cope with it, and going through that. If you're at let's say 150 kilos, before you even know it, you'd be 170 without having weigh yourself, and that's something I'll touch on as well. So definitely food addiction is a real thing, and I can most certainly tell you that even to this day there are traces of that behavior in my daily life, like the emotional attachment I have toward a specific type of fast food, which I completely avoid, and I will never ever have touched my lips ever again in my life. I'm not going to say a name because I don't want to get sued, but it is a fried chicken company from America. They're in Kentucky somewhere. So that stuff is poison, and I'll never ever touch. Oops, I just said it. I'll never ever eat that product ever again. So that's the emotional side of it. Now, I'll be more than happy to talk about food addiction, and I think, like I said, I'll do that in a separate video. But what I do also want to discuss is getting to the point of 274 kilograms is losing control. So I've lost control, and as a child I was always a little fat kid, not crazy, not super duper obese. In school I started getting a little bit fatter as I became a little bit less active. Like I stopped playing rugby in high school, and then added a little bit more to that. And then obviously after I left school, things just completely went off the rails. I started working in IT, so that means sitting at a desk all day, not moving as much as I need to move, and generally just eating bad stuff. And eventually you get to a point where you completely just lose control and coming back to what I said about weighing yourself, which was something I do once a week now, is I weigh myself once a week to look for any fluctuation in my weight, which I never did back then. So eventually you get to a point where none of the clothes fit anymore, and you get on a scale and you see, okay, geez, okay, I'm 180 kilograms. And then you go on a diet and then you lose 30 kilograms of the 180, and you celebrate by having the worst meal ever, and then you've basically just started that whole vicious circle again, and before you see it, you've gained 30 kilos back plus 10 more. And if anyone watching this video identifies that behavior in themselves, I would suggest getting help now. It would have to be and the people who assisted me were a team of people, including a psychologist. So there is a psychological aspect that you need to address, and you need someone to help you with it. And then obviously I went and I had bariatric surgery, which is another video on its own, which I'll talk about. But I think I'm going to end the video now, because I feel like it's dragging a little bit. So the long and the short of what I want to put across in this first video on how I got to 274 kilograms is I did it all on my own. I can't blame anyone else but myself for it, and it is destructive behavior that fed this demon. And I'm so happy that I did what I did, both from a physical perspective, psychological perspective. It all worked out for me, and I'm the happiest person I've ever been in my whole life. And I hope that by talking about it, I can help at least one person to make better decisions and, you know, do what they need to do to be happier. And I'm going to do a completely separate video on fat acceptance and people saying or talking about being happy while being fat or obese. So look out for that one. But for now, I'm gonna leave it there, and I want to thank you for watching. And please go to my website. It's www.halftheman.co.za or halftheman.co.za, and go and read a little bit. And if you want to contribute to my cause to help with the excess skin removal, please do so. But most of all, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.